to Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201. In today's episode, we're here to talk about the Pitt Season 1 and how it's honestly a great return to what good TV is. And the entire structure of why this show's amazing. And I don't know if you've listened to it yet, listen to the Watch interview that Noah Wyle does with Chris and Andy, and how they actually break down the structure of how this show is made. And you have to remember it because this is a show similar to 24, where it is minute to minute real. The 15 hours we stayed with these characters were 15 real legitimate hours. The tools that like the Grey's Anatomy of it, where like the next episode next week is a week later and we really don't know what's happening in between the week. We follow about 10 characters and we watch them grow over the course of a day, and the way this entire show is structured is just honestly phenomenal. Like, I understand, look, the show was allegedly conceived as a sequel to ER or reboot to ER, and it's not, right? These characters are not the same as ER. ER could never do this. By the way, the show's not even Grey's Anatomy or that shitty new one on Netflix called Pulse or the autistic doctor show that aired on ABC for a while, or House, or Scrubs, or any of this. Okay? We see a true evolution. First of all, the way this show works is a show that got bigger as the weeks got on because it was a week-to-week release. I remember being given the first 3 episodes early, right? And I was like, interesting. I like it. I like that the show was, being done in the 24 format. We haven't had a show that does 24 since 24. And I think that was really scratching an itch because we haven't had good, TV like that. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. And the way Noah Wyle explains is like, you're real characters. You're gonna have to have the same people on set for this. And for those of you who don't work in television, the economics, I'm just saying, you get a famous actor. The fact that you actually have to have these people on set in the background because this is real. Unlike I don't know if you've watched Grey's Anatomy recently. But Ellen Pompeo is rarely on the show anymore. Anyone who was on the show pre-Trump 1.0 administration is rarely on the show anymore because it's just expensive to have them like this. And I think the fact that this show is going to be a good place to launch good future actors. First of all, I don't know if you noticed, Melissa King, the character Melissa King, is played by Bryan Cranston's daughter. I have never seen her before in anything. Actually, outside Noah Wyle, I have never seen anybody who was on this show in anything else. And I think because the show had an 8-month shoot schedule and it was week to week and it wasn't, you see the characters grow, you got to see them really become more comfortable in this. I think Melissa King's character is somewhat on the spectrum, and she has a sister who is way more on the spectrum, but she has to be, sent to a place that she can be watched while she's at work. We have Dr. Langdon, who, is stealing his patient's drugs, and the whole hint of that. We meet a kid who is an incel on a hit list, and we keep hearing about this music festival that's going to happen throughout the day, and so many people are coming in and out of the hospital. They're excited to go to the music festival. And we know as a viewer, they're going to do a mass shooting, right? And this is America. We're always going to have mass shootings. I'm all about it. But when we get to the mass shooting part, so much trauma has already happened before hour 10 of the show. There are some very sad moments that I don't think people understand what is going to happen. I want to give a good recap of everything that happened in the 15 hours. Okay, so just think. When the show begins I can't even remember this, at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., in between that, he deals with fentanyl overdoses where one kid, is brain dead within hour 3. Dr. Landon is hiding drug abuse. We learn, because it's never heavily implied, they don't verbally say it, that Dr. Collins, that he had an affair with her, they used to sleep, and she has a miscarriage. That was his child, okay? And then, by the way, she kind of just disappears after that. And by the graphicness of this, A show that all the other medical shows have never had the graphicness of this. We see a fucking childbirth. We see what really happens. By the way, what I guess hospitals look like after a mass shooting is insane. So back to that. She has a miscarriage, and then she also says that she had an abortion a couple of years ago while she was in a relationship with Robbie. And this is all before the mass shooting, and that sends hospital. The crazy thing, we understand, I guess, that all hospitals have a mass shooter protocol. And I guess we should learn this because, like, we've seen Grey's Anatomy, a hospital is shut up like 4 times, right? And then we see that Robbie's ex-girlfriend's son, the hint is that he's at the music festival. We're like, oh God, is he going to die at the mass shooting? And it's also the anniversary of Robbie's best friend who died of COVID, right? And it's just the insane thing. We see the most, like, if you really want to try watching an episode of television, the episode where this little girl drowns, right? She drowns saving her sister. And the little sister has no idea, and it's just one of the most saddest things. We see adult children having to say goodbye to their parents. We see, the standard anti-vax people, the measles thing, the fear of, like, just abandoning your parents at the hospital. There's this Asian lady, has a mom that's, like, too sick to take care of, and she's just exhausted. And then we don't see her for 3 episodes because she just passes out in her car taking a nap because she felt exhausted. But we, the viewer, are like, oh, she just abandoned her, and something like just to get out of it. The way, I think, God, honestly, I would love to audition for season 2 of the show, whether it is as a, one of the hospital victims that comes in for a while, or as one of the new doctors. I think the way this show works is truly how television needs to be again because of the week-to-week process. The show gained a fall. It was very like the CW shows back in the day, right? Before the CW was sold to that, like, Christian conservative dude. The Flash, Arrow, Legends, Legacies, Vampire Diaries, The 100, Supernatural. These were shows that we followed characters for 22 weeks a year. We watched them grow. We learned to love them. We became attached to them. This idea of where we just drop a show and, she just disappeared. Think about it. Like, Stranger Things is going to drop all 8 episodes in July. And after 2 weeks, we're just going to forget about it. But shows like The Pitt, shows like Last of Us, Severance, White Lotus, because it's week to week, because they stay in our consciousness for 8 to 15 weeks, they stay with us forever. And that is the difference. And not only that, but when it's truly good writing and stories you can relate to. I wrote a whole thing about this on a Substack about the beautiness of this show. Like, it's an interesting, I feel good that television looks like this again. It's truly just phenomenal. Whereas I'm trying to find it. Here we go. Right. And then, by the way, full disclosure, I do have award show votes, and I'm most likely going to vote for Noah Wyle as Best Actor for everything. I mean, SAG Awards, etc. But the thing is that The Pitt is a show that feels like they're speaking to us and not at us. The show felt real, and not real like based on a true story, real like that weird Ellen Pompeo show with the crazy Down syndrome chick or autism chick, whatever the hell is happening on that show. But real as you could talk to your friends at like 1 a.m. and it might save your life type of real. I felt when peace watching the show. So look, the show is built like 24 in real time. Like, as I said, a 15 gritty lived an hour underfunded ER. Basically similar like Abbott Elementary. That would be great. Abbott Elementary crosses over with The Pitt. Right, and it's a ragtag group of brand new risks, fresh faces. The camera doesn't blink, and the hospital. It's just, I love this show in a way, and I'm glad it's going to be a show. The way they're doing the production is this show's going to come on the air every January, and it's going to own January. Which this is how television used to work. It's like right now the Bear is very simple, right? The Bear comes back every June. And this is the final season of The Bear, or Only Murders that comes back every August. Like, when you have a show that can plant its seed, right? And we're like, boom, this is for the next 10 weeks. It's about it. Think about it. Severance was going up against, not Severance. I mean, The Pitt was going up against Severance, White Lotus, The the Harley Quinn show, Creatures Commando, normal broadcast television, other hit Apple shows and Netflix shows that were coming out, and outside like when adolescence dropped, the Pitt preserved through and through and grew a following. And we know that season 2 is going to be taking place over 4th of July weekend. Now, I don't know if this means it's taking place on like 4th of July, because I really do hope they keep from what they said, they're going to keep the 15-hour format situation. We're going to follow an ER shift. And the fact that it's going to be 10 months from now, with the characters are get to grow and develop that we won't see on screen. Okay, we're going to see Dr. Santos have to live with the dorky Wisconsin farmer guy. Langdon's going to be in rehab. Maybe Melissa King is going to be more in touch with her emotions. Maybe, what is it? Dr. Collins will finally return to work. Maybe Dana, who got assaulted by some dude, will know she pressed charges on the guy that assaulted her. Like, these are just the way the show worked that made me care about 15 random characters and their friendship, and the way that the show ended. Like, we get to see little things, like when they're leaving the ship, how they became friends because they like bonded through war. And the mass shooting episode is just the 2 hours with the mass shooting and the victims, of how they had to just get it together and the people they lost. And we see, I don't know what the tragedy, because I do know that this is about, in terms of like someone who watches television, I don't know what the gimmick will be for the 4th of July season. If I were to guess, I'm going to guess, very obviously, fireworks or a grill explode in like an apartment, and we're going to get like full victims of like an apartment, like coming in, rushed into 4th of July. Children blow their hands off with fireworks. Realistic things that do happen on 4th of July weekend. And I think this is great. And if the way the show's going to work is that we're just going to jump through, every 9 to 10 months, I'm here with it. The show ruined Grey's Anatomy for me. But Grey's Anatomy has been garbage post-season, I want to say 14. Like, it got really dumb when Derek died. But, like, I kind of stuck with it. And then it got really, really shitty for a long time. I came back during the COVID season, which I thought was good. But then it got really, really shitty again. Like, Meredith, they were on the show. The new group of, like, fucking kids, like Mike Chang from Glee and the girl from fucking Rain on the CW, and I don't know who else is on. Oh, there was a girl from Sex Life of College Girls on the show. I'm just not invested. I think they're like clowns. Like, I just, like, after watching The Pitt, I'm like, these doctors, who are, like, first and second residents, run circles around the Grey's Anatomy people, okay? The only fictional doctors I think The Pitt could never, like, go to war with is the House doctors, but House won incompetence, right? House is screwed with incompetent. Grey's Anatomy is just so fucking bad now. It is horrendous. Now, I will say, I am enjoying Dr. Odyssey, though, but we only follow one doctor and his 2 nurse practitioners, and they're very competent and everything, so it's a different situation. But, God, Grey's Anatomy, horrendous now. The Pitt, phenomenal. It is, I assume, I wrote what I believe are going to be the best 10 shows of the year. I may, like, circle one in and out, because I don't know if Landman Season 2 is going to make it out by the end of the year, but right now, I've seen a couple episodes of Last of Us Season 2, so full disclosure. The Pitt is my 1, okay? Last of Us Season 2 is my 2. Paradise is 3, but Paradise Episode 7 is the best episode of television of the year. Adolescence is at 4. I'm putting Stranger Things Season 5 there right now at 5. I believe it's going to work. I don't think it's going to be amazing. I also think the final season of The Bear is probably going to be up there. So I put The Bear in there. I have White Lotus Season 3. I have Severance Season 2. I have Black Mirror Season 7, but I may remove that because I only think the USS Callister episode is the phenomenal episode, and that is most likely going to be submitted as like a television movie thing. So I will probably remove that and put the new John Hamm show, This Is What Happens in the Neighborhood, or whatever it's called, because that show is really good, into that slot. The morning show also comes back, but let's not be real. The morning show is fucking horrendous. It's bad television to watch. And then I obviously have Landman. But these are my thoughts on the show. Listen to the Watchers interview with Noah Wyle with Chris and Andy, how he broke down on why the sets were constructed in such a way, because they actually timed how long it would take to walk from this because of the show's minute-to-minute format. Great.